Hello everyone, I'm Rohan. I'm from Just Agate. Today we are with a new podcast. Here we have Prem and Selva. They are the founders of TurboComply. Hi,
Hey Rohan,
hi, hi,
hi.
hi, hi, Selva.
Hi.
So what is TurboComply?
Yeah. So TurboComply, it's a compliance management tool for the auditors. So we are trying to streamline the workflow of the auditor, where he can manage his clients, his team, and also the fast changing compliances. So we're trying to put a streamlined workflow management tool in cloud, which will help him with task management, document management, and also client management. So in simple terms, this is TurboComply. So we're trying to connect an auditor and his teammate along with the company's CEO or the compliance team.
Okay, yeah. So how you guys met both? How you have the relation? How you met? How you started this?
So we are basically both engineers,
Okay.
and we started our journey with startups only. So I was a sales guy when I started my career, and he was an operation guy when he started his career. And one part of time when our two journeys met, we just started working on a product in Unica. So we were like working together. I was taking the growth part of the company, and he was taking into the operations part of the company. So one point of time, we were like, okay, we have to do something together because we have got that experience. So that's when we started brainstorming ideas, and we just revisited on what are the challenges we face in both our startup journeys. We put together a set of key pointers, and that is how a startup evolved, and then currently it has become TurboComply.
Okay. So you got the ideas. How you validated?
So before starting the product, right, like before even starting the code or before even registering the company,
Okay.
we started doing the market research actually
Okay.
to find out the product user fit for this Turbo Comply. And then like when we were doing market research, we got a lot of hiccups and we came to know that like the idea that we had completely pivoted when it comes as a product actually. And like a lot of challenges that we were facing.
What inspired you to start this TurboComply?
So when I and Selva we were like working on the previous companies, we were having one challenge which was like from the complaint side. Basically, not exactly as our CEOs or the finance team. So they were so as we were working closely with the finance team, every complaints notice or like every challenge they faced would be like somehow passed on to us. So then we started getting this used to this term called complaints or notices. So we wanted to figure out like what it is and who are all the other set of people who are like facing these challenges. So mostly it was like company CEO or the legal team or like the core compliance team. So we were like just putting all those things together when we were like trying to solve all those things for the teams. Okay. Then when we want to build a product around it, we just went to multiple CEOs, multiple companies to understand how they are tackling this problem altogether. Is there any generic solution, or do they outsource it, or do they depend only on their auditor? So during that instance, we figured out like, okay, if we provide one-stop solution where we can educate about complaints to the CEOs or like the CXOs, it'll be like easy for them. Okay, especially for like a new startup founder. Okay, that's what our main target was.
Okay.
So when we did that, we built a product MVP for them even before registering our company, and we just took to a lot of CEOs. The response was not so good. Okay, even though they liked the idea, it was they were not the right people who were using that product. So they somehow diverted us to their auditors or consultants or like their complaints teams. So we had to like reshape the product according to this set of people. So that is how we were like, okay, it's not a CEO product, but he's like one major user in that product, one pointer that we figured it out. Now someone has to do all the duty for the CEO. So we thought like, okay, that would be like the auditors. That is where we took the product and we iterated with a lot of auditors. We kind of like took inputs from multiple auditing teams,
Okay.
and then we developed the product what we are building right now.
Okay. One quick question. As you said, you found problem when you're working in a X companies.
Right.
Why didn't you go and approach your seniors? So these are the voids which we can see. Why don't you come up with some solutions to provide this?
See, the major reason was compliance is something which keeps on evolving on like a regular
Okay.
day basis. Like for example, the time when we are
Yes.
speaking, there might be a new complaints
Yes.
change for a particular state or particular panchayat or
Okay.
particular like area. So
Okay.
that complaints is like that deeper root level problem. So even though someone who can say like is like a CXO in complaints, they have to keep on getting them updated with the latest changing rules. Okay, so yeah, there are multiple even multiple government portals which keeps on publishing this,
Okay.
but we just wanted to put it together based upon the right company. So that's what TurboComply does. We have a
Okay.
personalization based upon a client.
Okay.
So when an auditor adds a client, we will collect the basic inputs of whether what type of company, private limited or public limited or LLP, and then what state they are in, and what service they are providing. It's like IT service or like e-commerce or whatever it is. So based on that, we just tell a company, okay, so we put it upfront in a way.
Okay.
So that is some one way we are different compared to other complaints company where they list all the complaints together.
Okay.
So we kind of
it's a-
curate
the main which you have to go through first, then you go.
Correct. We kind of
Yes.
curate
Okay.
the task
Okay.
what a company has to
So
do.
I will see give a roadmap to them
Right,
to go.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So as you said, you found the problem in a particular field. So how did you validate the problem? So what was the takes like major steps you took to validate the project?
So for example, before even starting the product,
Okay.
before even starting the code actually, or before even registering the company,
Okay.
we started to validate our idea with the market, in the market. Basically, we started doing market research to find out the right product fit for this TurboComply. So we started doing all these activities actually. And the response was, as Prem said, like initially the response with the companies and the CEOs was not that good enough. And we could not penetrate this product to their day-to-day activity. And like we felt like there should be some change in this product, or we have to take a small pivot where instead of approaching companies are like one of the stakeholder of this product, not the entire product flow actually. So we started reshaping the product to the professionals actually.
Okay.
So we did a pivot in the product, and we built it for professionals like CACS, where they can handle their internal team members also, and also like where they have clients as well actually. So we started like for example, for internal team members, we built a flow, separate workflow, and for CAs and CS, like we built a different workflow, and for again companies and CEOs, we have a different workflow actually. Again, for each of them, we segmented this product actually.
Okay.
And that's where like we started seeing some attraction towards these products after finding out the right target audience and like product user fit. Then like we were happy to roll out our MVP with minimal features and minimal modules actually.
Okay.
So that's where like we found a strong validation against this product in the market, and we also got some 20 to 30 free users actually for this product.
Okay. After setting up your service, how was your first customer experience?
They like the product with all the features what we gave them. So basically we had like we have like around 5 modules. When we launched, we did with 2 modules, only the task management and the document management. There was like very good responses, but it was not solving all their problems in one shot. Means like the communication was missing, and what else was missing was the client facing product was not available. And one big, I mean, like for example, of 24 hours of an auditor's work, 10 hours goes in accounting. So we never had an option to cover that accounting. Okay. So we were always, whenever we finish a meeting, we were always given 100 new requests from every auditor. So we had to like pick a few, we had to like let go of few. So we took that stand. Actually, that is where we had like a lot of sleepless brainstorming sessions. So one such thing what we took was, our tool is going to be a compliance tool. We are not going to do anything in the accounting part. So that we took. So any new feature request what we get in the compliance part, we actually look into it. And whatever comes in accounting, we don't want to be an alternative to Tally.
Acha.
Yeah.
So you are in the beginning you are fixed like we'll go in this way.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Whatever needs on the complaints part, we'll do it. For example, after so currently we push a complaint, say payment of a GST, and after this saying an auditor to do a payment of GST, they go to a government portal to pay the GST and do the filing. Okay. Now that is something which is missing in our product, which we are trying to build in the next version or the third phase of the product launch. So which we'll be like doing. But something if they ask, okay, like give me an auditing tool where I'll do the accounting, we are not going to do that at this moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you said, you store you take some information from the client side or the auditor side. So how do you manage a data and how you guys store? How?
So basically, like when we give a tool to auditor and we want to automate their workflow, it includes like working on multiple Excel files or like working on a lot of like accounting documents. Okay. So once that particular work is done, they save multiple files across a task. Okay. So that documentation we are storing it client by client. Okay. And we are hosting our product on AWS. So we have a secured space for a client on which an auditor will work, which will be accessible to the teammate to whom the auditor gives the permission to. Same way, when they share the access to the client can view when an auditor gives them the access, it will be restricted only with the client. Now the advantage of this particular feature is, say a auditor does not need to intimate a client always saying like, hey, the work is done, this is your files. It doesn't need to like do it on WhatsApp or email. It will be stored in the product. And when a client needs that product file again, he doesn't need to go and ask the auditor again. It's already there. Now an investor or a third party auditor or like a during due diligence, when someone asks the client for data, everything is like in one single place, which need not be downloaded and shared. They just need an access sharing permission, which can be like seen, can be removed anytime. So that's how we manage the documentation altogether.
Yeah, because the privacy
Correct,
matters.
yeah.
So how about your team size? How you guys set up your team?
Right now we have 10 plus members who is actively working with us actually.
As you said, you're looking after the team building team. So apart from technical knowledge, what are the things you look after in a member? What are that key to?
We keep our team very lean actually. So right now there are only two types of openings we look into. One is into development actually, tech and product, that's it. The other one is other side of thing is a business. That's it.
How about your vision? What will be your projection, or I could add on the vision?
Sure. So how we want to like define ourselves is like, we want, as I said, we will be like a complaints management tool. And around complaints we'll be like making all the features. So how we want to make it is, we want to do the same in the global sector. So now Indian complaints is like the highest challenging complaints, so compared to any other countries. So once we find the market fit here, once we have 100 users using it here with in automated way, we'll be like slowly launching in every country in phases. So we'll launch first in Southeast Asia and like Middle East without the complaints part. So it'll be like a task manager, document manager, team manager, client manager. Then we'll add the fifth module of complaints. Yeah.
So we'll go step by step.
Correct, yeah. The first 4 modules can be launched in together, one shot, and then the complaints will be like pushed as we start taking the complaints. So
as you said, you both are the co-founders. How who like did there was anyone to influence your decisions, or you guys how you used to take the decisions? What are you gonna proceed? How it was?
So ideally it is mutual. So we somehow have that kind of an understanding, because like somewhere we know each other for the last 7 years. So for at least for the first 4 years we didn't work together, but we know each other. Okay, what he's doing, what I'm doing. So our ideas, I mean, our journey met around 2017-18. So that is when we started working very closely.
Yes, we do have openings both on tech and non-tech actually. So tech, anybody who has prior experience with Elixir and Node and React, right? Like at least 2 to 3 years of experience, they can directly reach out to us.
These are the tools.
Yes, these are the backend frameworks, languages they should know. So they can directly apply on our website.
Actually, feedback is something which is kind of running our company itself altogether, because without that we would have still been a product which would have launched, and we'll be like chasing CEOs and asking them to please buy, please buy, please buy. So like when we got like close to our 100th rejection from the CEO, we were like, okay, fine, something, well, it's not wrong, because they never said like, okay, your product I don't like it. They never said that. I like it, but I'll not buy it, because that's very dangerous.
Yeah, thank you, Prince.